What's going on, everybody? Code Monkey Mike here, and I'm going to be going over an indicator, a cycle top indicator that was developed in 2019. Keep that date in mind because that's going to be important for the purposes of this video. And it's supposedly it predicts the cycle top within 3 days of the actual top. And so I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about how it resembles something else that I'm noticing and how this particular indicator behaved in a certain way last cycle and something I'm noticing right now. But before we proceed, just want to let you know that nothing in this video is financial advice. This video is strictly for entertainment and informational purposes only. Okay, so now that's over with. So this cycle top this particular indicator, the pi cycle top, it is done by taking the 111-day moving average and comparing it to the 350-day moving average multiplied by 2. So somebody in 2019 discovered this, and he says, he found that when he does this, the 111-day moving average crosses over and above the 350-day moving average multiplied by 2 within 3 days prior to the cycle top, which is rather interesting. So like I said, keep that date in mind, 2019. Now, this doesn't go back to the June 2011 cycle top, but it starts off, and there's an indicator here. These arrows, I think, are a little bit messed up in this predefined indicator. It should be like a few days to the right. I think it's based on the weekly, and I'm showing daily candles, but yeah. But there was a rally in early 2013, so this is not the cycle top, but it's a local top. Early 2013, so this is April, and it's right around the time, coincidentally, I guess it's right around the time when a friend of mine told me about Bitcoin, and I sort of didn't pay attention too much, but the rest is history. I did, thankfully, later that year. But one thing to note, and you're going to want to note this in every single top that I show you, is that the 111-day moving average crosses over and above the 350-day moving average multiplied by 2, and it stays that way for an extended period of time. So we have April, and it goes back down in August, and we notice a significant amount of price above the 350-day moving average. So now if we go to 2013 top, this is the real top, not the local top like that one I just explained to you, but here's the 2013 top. This is a cycle top indicator. Again, it crosses over the 111, crosses over the 350, right? And then there's a cycle top, and then it stays that way for an extended period of time. So we're talking about, December, when the cycle top was in 2013, and it crosses back down in March of 2014 and crosses back under. Now we get to 2017, the next cycle top. Let's do like this, right? So maybe like this so you can see this a little better, right? Now we have the same thing. Okay, we have the cycle top of 2017. It was in December again. And this indicator crosses over. The 111 crosses over the 350 in December. And it stays there for an extended period of time. Up until March, right? So December until March. And so something interesting happens between this cycle top and the next one, which was somebody discovered this in 2019. And something happened next, something interesting. So here's the 2021 top. Now you notice something different that happened. So this is the first double top, the first of the double tops, right? So it was a 63, and then this one was 67 or something, right? So something interesting happened here, whereas this 111 came into contact with the 350, and it barely crossed over, and didn't stay over it only stayed over for a very short period of time. And then the dumping that we came to understand happened like right afterwards. Now, the next interesting phenomenon. So this is not the cycle top, as we know. The cycle top was here in November. It wasn't in April. This was the first of the double tops, but it was lower, and the real top was in November, right? Because it was higher. And the 111 is significantly below the 350. So for the first time, this changes. So what happened here? My suspicion, I remember this. I mean, I don't know if I remember the cycle top indicator. I don't know if I remember the pi cycle top indicator particularly, but I remember indicators and so on. I wasn't really big on charts last up until this cycle, actually. I wasn't, and I'm still, to be clear, I'm still not a TA guy. I think the market is driven more by economic data and, you know, jobs and liquidity, macroeconomics, maybe the happenings in the world, geopolitical and so on. And I think that as of this year, because I came out of the closet into like I went into a questioning phase, and then like came out of the closet. I'm like, okay, I'm not a halving zombie. Like the halving doesn't make sense. The halving, it's impossible that the halving could drive the crypto market, the Bitcoin halving. And I came across to understand, I came to understand that it's really driven by other factors, macroeconomic factors and so on. So what happened here? We had a situation. Let me go into this first. Now that I've talked about the macroeconomic factors and so on, I am under the belief as of this year that the previous cycle had been shortened, right? This should have been 5 years, but it was shortened to 4 years. It was sort of pulled back into 2021 because of COVID. There was a sudden drop in interest rates. There was a massive surge and a massive burst in liquidity, like off the charts. And if it had happened naturally without COVID taking place, right? Because there were interest rate cuts in 2019. If there had been gradual cuts in 2020, it probably would have been a cycle top. I have been saying for many, many months now, there probably would have been a cycle top in 2022, in the end of 2022. And it probably would have been similar to the top in 2017. Maybe like this bull start running in October, it starts flying in November, and then it tops out in December, right? But because of COVID, it was sort of pulled into the previous year. Now, I've been long since saying that there was a 2.5 year top, the first top, which topped off in June of 2011, like I just talked about when I started this video, right? And the second top was another 2.5 years later. It topped off in December of 2013. So there's nothing that says there is a 4 year cycle. It's just, I think a lot of people are understanding that now, because if the 4 year cycle were true, we would be absolutely flying right now in December. We're not. We're really not. Because there are certain things, there are liquidity problems in the markets, interest rates are high, there's no QE, right? There's no money printing. QT is about to end, right, on December 1st officially. It happened last cycle. QT ended in September of 2019. So a lot of things about this particular cycle, but this particular year in this cycle just reminds me of 2019 from last cycle, right? This 2025 doesn't remind me of 2021. It reminds me of 2019 of last cycle. And I've been saying, due to all the stuff that's going to be happening starting from right now, end of QT, continuous cut of interest rates, and then a rapid cut of interest rates when Jerome Powell gets replaced in May, right? Possible dividend checks, which is similar to the stimulus checks, the COVID stimulus checks. So we have tariff dividend checks. And money printing. This is all going to happen next year, which is going to lead to an amazing, phenomenal cycle top in 2027. So I've been saying that for a good 6 months now, maybe more. We won't know if I'm wrong until 2027, I guess. But I do believe there is going to be a nice run-up, end-of-year rally, and because all the factors are in place for it. So it's not going to be pretty big, it's not going to be gigantic, but we're going to be taking profits, right? At least I'm going to be taking profits. So going back to this, what happened here? What the hell happened here? One thing is, if this guy announced it and people knew about it in 2019. So everybody was looking out for the cycle top. So as soon as this happened, people might have just like said, oh my God, the cycle top is here. I'm going to dump my bags. Now, mind you, if in my scenario, I have always been saying that if COVID didn't happen and everything happened naturally and the cycle top was a year later in 2022, we probably wouldn't have had the double top. We would have had like, a dramatic top in 2022, similar to 2017. And it would have been just a single top, and Bitcoin would have topped out a little bit higher than the 68K. It would have been more like 80K or 90K for the cycle top. However, I've come to like, I started thinking about this. I was just thinking about this in bed like last night. I was just like, wait a minute. And I was thinking about this pi cycle top. People knew about this damn thing in 2019, so they were expecting it. And when the market is expecting something, usually the opposite happens, right? So like this just happened. We all know, right? This just happened a couple months ago. The market was expecting a red September because in the post-halving year, there's always a red September. This is where I go off on TA, because TA just can't cut it, right? Because TA relies on the idea that something that has happened repeatedly in the past and therefore should happen again, right? So then when people start expecting it, the opposite happens. So we were all expecting a red September, right? And then because of that, everybody was saying, okay, I don't want to be involved in that red September. Let me just cash out now. Let me cash out now so I don't have to deal with all the redness in September. And they turned August red. And then September turned green, right? They pulled it forward the same way I just described that COVID and its burst of liquidity pulled forward the cycle top from 2017, from 2022 to 2021, right? We pulled that red September forward or closer to us when we were in August. So this, I would imagine that this is the same thing that happened here. They caused the 111-day moving average to simply touch the 350-day moving average multiplied by 2. They touched it and it didn't stay for an extended period of time, like I just showed you in the other tops, right? If you go back here, right, I just showed this to you. This 111 stays above the 350 for months, right? And you can visually see that it's above. However, if you go back over here, you can't even, it only touches it. You can only visually see it. So everybody's like, oh my God, this is the top. Let me dump, right? And that's exactly what happened. The 111 did not stay above the 350 for an extended period of time. And, it's, with all that liquidity in the market, it needed to flow some more. It needed to flow more. Like I was saying, it's, if like what would have happened if there wasn't a double top? There would have been a single top, but much higher. But we were going that way. And then, yeah, it's just, it doesn't, this doesn't work out. Now, another thing I think I would like to point out now is because of the law of diminishing returns, I doubt that the 111 will ever touch the 350 again, right? I doubt that it would ever happen again now because Bitcoin itself is not going to pump that much by many multipliers. It's not going to add trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in a single, month. It's not going to multiply by that. So look where we are right now. So this indicator, if you're trying to say, if you're trying to understand, get an understanding of when the cycle top is going to be based on this pi cycle top indicator, I think you're going to be out of luck. I'm saying that we're probably going to get our cycle top in 2017, but I doubt that this is even going to happen. Look how far apart it is, right? Even if we were at an all-time high right now of like 140, look how far away it would be, right? Like I think this is what happens when the market expects something that we actually cause the opposite to happen whenever we expect it. So, so like I said, like this guy, he came out, he found this thing, you know, in 2019. He was like, wow, this happened like this every single time in the past. Then he starts talking about it and letting everybody know. And then suddenly now everybody knows and the opposite happens. So going back to what's happening today. Now, how does this compare to today, right? Because I'm saying this same type of thing has been happening right now. Let's get rid of this indicator. Let's hide that bad boy. And let's look at this one. Let's change to the weekly. So we have another phenomenon right now where everybody believes that if Bitcoin closes below, right, the weekly close closes below the 50-week moving average, then we are going to plummet into a bear market. Now, can that be true? I mean, it was true in the past, but is it true right now? Is it only the charts that we need to look at to determine how everything is going to be, right? Is it only seriously, do we not need to look at anything else, right? Liquidity in the markets, the banks, the Fed, QE, everything, right? Regulation, laws, you know, laws that hinder or laws that help, things like that. Geopolitical, you know, China invading Taiwan, you know, things like that. What do we need to look at? Should we only be looking at the charts and disregard everything else in the world? I think that's kind of dumb. This is why I'm not a TA person. I mean, I'm learning all this stuff right now because I think it's interesting, but I mean, it's helping me prove that, you know, things can change based on what the market expects. If the market expects something is just because it happened like 2 or 3 times or 4 times in the past, it doesn't mean it's going to happen again. You start expecting it starts changing. Now, we could close below, right? And I think what's going to happen, because a lot of the 4 cycle zombies that I've been talking about recently, it's kind of funny, like 4 cycle zombies, right? I'm sorry, 4-year cycle zombies, right? 4-year cycle zombies, right? These guys that just believe in the 4-year cycle because of the halving and nothing else, the same thing is going to happen like what happened back here. Yeah, I'm going to have to change that back to the daily, but yeah. The same thing that happened back here, right? So these people were like pi cycle top zombies, right? They were pi cycle top zombies, right? And they dumped and they caused this. They caused this to plummet. They caused it to, you know, to go down. And then it was like the market was like, wait a minute. You know, the market was like, wait a minute. You know, a few months later, there's a lot of good liquidity out here, man. It's like, we're not done yet. And then it starts going up again, right? So, I mean, I think the same thing could happen like right now. And it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting with this, yeah, let's get rid of that. With this 50-week moving average. So in theory, right now, if we close below, I mean, I've been hearing a lot right now. This is Saturday right now. So tomorrow we could close below the 50-week moving average. And a lot of people are going to dump because their belief is that we're going to hit it to the bear market. But I believe that a similar phenomenon is going to happen like right after the first top of the double top of last cycle, where we see a whole bunch of red, right, going down, maybe to 70K or whatever. And then it's going to go back up. I mean, it could be. I mean, I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be much shorter. I think it's going to be way shorter than way shorter than the the difference between the first and the second top of the double top of last cycle, because it was months, right? It could just be weeks, or it could be a week or whatever, because I can think things are going to go down, and then the market maker is going to send it back up. I mean, that's what I think is really going to happen. And a lot of people are going to be shorting because they're going to be betting on the idea that, wow, you know, we closed below the 50-week moving average going to bear market, so they're going to be shorting, right? And give it a week or less, you know, there's going to be a lot of shorts out there. And then the market maker is just going to buy up, you know, it's just going to send it up and liquidate all the shorts. Now, I just released a video just like earlier, just a few hours ago, and I was talking about how Michael Saylor, there was a scare that Michael Saylor, just like 2 days ago, was dumping his Bitcoin. Then he came out and said, this, no, it's not true, he's buying, right? So if he's buying, the billionaires are buying, like I've been talking about this for weeks or even months, just definitely for weeks, right? Since we had the top in early October. These institutions, these billionaires, these institutions, smart money, they wouldn't be stacking Bitcoin if they thought the bear market was going to begin in a couple of weeks, right? Because then they would be losing money. Like, why would they do that? So I don't know. I think that I think we're creating a big divide between, like, there's the market makers, right? There's retail, which there are those who are trying to think like the market makers, and then those who are just 4-year cycle zombies. You know, and they're TA folks. They can't get out of the charts, and they can't look at everything else, right? If you can't analyze the fact, if you're so deep into TA and you're looking at these charts and all you see are candles that are related to Bitcoin, and maybe a couple of lines here and there, and you can't just go out to Twitter and see that Michael Saylor and other institutions are actually buying Bitcoins and say, wait a minute, this doesn't match up. Like, you can't do that. I don't know what to tell you, man. Your head is in the clouds or something. I don't know. It's really strange. I mean, all of this can get fun and all. It can get fun, but I wouldn't make a judgment off of that. I would look into everything. I would look at this, right? And I would look at everything else as well, and I'd make my judgment. I wouldn't just look at this and have blinders on. But it is what it is. And you know what? Maybe I'm wrong, right? Maybe we're going into a crypto winter starting like tomorrow, like quite literally tomorrow when Bitcoin closes, right? And maybe, you know, but we won't be able to know unless it's like months and months and months worth of a bear market starting from like right now. Then it'll be like, okay, I'm wrong. But I mean, I have been saying that we're going to see a good run up, end of year rally. I still believe it's going to be that way. I had been saying that the 4-year cycle zombies are going to be suppressing the green candles because they're going to dump their bags at the slightest green candles. But, you know, then afterwards, maybe in January and maybe first and second quarter of next year, when it's got a mini crypto winter before the liquidity starts pumping again and pumps the markets and so on in 2026, and it's surprising everybody. But I think this time I think that we actually might see a different scenario where we're not getting green candles, right? So the 4-year cycle zombies are not creating resistance, but rather there are just red candles across the board, and they're pushing the red candles, pushing down further, which actually might happen tomorrow. And if it doesn't, I don't know. If it doesn't, that's great. I prefer things to be green, but when things go red, I mean, there's good deals out there too. So I'll be looking at those deals as well. But either way, guys, that's my take. Nothing is financial advice. Oh yeah, right. I didn't talk about that. So, I've been getting a lot of, like, me and my community, I've been calling a lot of good calls where I'm considering them pre-run-up calls, right? Pre-run-up wins or gains. And I don't think that would be happening. Like de-aging AI just a week and a half ago, 130x, a week and a half ago. It's like, I figured that's a good pre-run up run. So just a precursor to what's going to happen in December. And I don't think that would be happening if we were just going to go into a bear market. What was it? It was just de-aging AI and MYX and so on that did happen to pump in the bull market, and nothing else did. I just thought that doesn't make sense. MYX, 50x and MYX. The funny thing is that this dude, not to knock him, right? Because, we always have to make theories, but the dude who made this pi cycle top indicator, he, I wonder what would have happened if he kept that to himself, right? Like, what would happen if you just find out what can tell you about the top? If you keep it to yourself, what would happen? How much more money would you make, right? Like I have software in my community where I'm developing. I develop software that helps me find out and like scan every single token out there in the market, and I find which one is going to pump to the moon at a very low market cap. It's crazy amounts of work been put into it, and as far as I know, I have the most successful group so far. I plan on getting, like, every single time there's one of these gigantic circles right here. That's de-aging AI from 7 days ago, right? I plan on getting like every single goddamn token that can and will pump. Now, in September it was MYX. In October it was Chain Opera AI, which it's insane that I actually found that and had a tab open and didn't play it. Just found it at launch day. Right. My community knows, like, I have like some channels in my Discord that are test channels, and we actually found Chain Opera AI, and I look back on it, I was like, holy crap, I had this. So based on that, I'm almost at 100% accuracy when getting those gigantic green candles, right? Now, what if I would tell everybody how I do it? What if I would tell everybody how I do it? Then it would be useless, right? Thus far, I have the market cornered. I have a significant amount of members, right? Look at that, right? I have less than 2,000 subscribers, and I have over 100 members. Can you imagine? It's like some other YouTubers have like 30, 40,000 subscribers on YouTube, and when it comes to paid members, not free Discords, but paid members, they only have like 100 or maybe less, or maybe 150 or whatever. But like, we're talking about like 10, like 20, 30, 40 times the amount of subscribers and reach that I have, and yet I have this amount of members. So yeah, I'm I'm on to something, man. And my community is making some really good gains, and my expectation is to get a lot of these gigantic green bubbles in the next few weeks. And but yeah, to tell everybody how I do it, no, that's kind of crazy, right? Because then the cat's out of the bag. Now, what would have happened if this guy with this pi cycle top indicator, if he didn't tell anybody, it would, I think, let me get rid of this. I think this dude just I think what he did is he caused this. I think he kind of caused this to happen. Like, this one guy single-handedly did all that. I don't know. Maybe I'm like going a little bit too extreme, but if people were expecting this to happen, they would have dumped, right? Like, if you knew about this indicator and you did this, I mean, I didn't do it. I was just hodling during this time period. I remember this, but I wasn't like into crypto with a channel. I mean, yeah, this channel existed, but I was talking about random stuff, crypto and other stuff as well back in 2019. But I wasn't doing what I'm doing right now. But yeah, if you were like, a trader, a complete trader, where you're relying on crypto to buy your Lambo and stuff like that, and to retire your family bloodline, then you would have known about this, and then you would have dumped. you would have dumped if you knew about this. So if this never existed, who knows? We would have seen a different chart for 2021. Maybe it would have just kept going up, like I was saying, and it would just go like a steady climb upward, without a without a double top. Anyways, guys. Click the link in the description below if you want to get in on some of this action that I was talking about. Like I said, best group out there, best community out there, and the stats prove it. The track record proves it. You can see all this. You can go to my website, right? If you go to my website and you click here, you go to see more. And even I don't even have everything. Look, I mean, here's MYX, right? But I usually look at Trash Coin 148X. But yeah, I mean, and all this is from this year. I mean, there's still de-aging AI isn't even here yet. I got to start putting more in, just to tout it, right? Anyways, guys, hit that like, subscribe, and click that link below. Talk to you later.